Well, before I start, I want to say,
Is that
I've got my
the
book,
Enochian?
the Book of Enoch. I put this on out of celebratory reverence.
I saw it earlier.
Our nod to John Dee.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Who?
We got it.
There it is, look.
Louvre, yeah.
This was another thing that we got chatting about.
Yes, it was.
So,
admittedly, I never finished that.
oh, fucking tell me about it, right? There you go. There you go, Aidan. So, I've got to go down my camera. Look, there you go, John Dee. Now, I got about. In fact, I'll tell you where I got. I'm about a third of the way through. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
There, look.
Yep. It's so. I mean, when you start getting into the hieroglyphs and the Enochian magic and just some of the tables and the way they set everything out, it's so confusing to take in. John
Dee and the Empire
of Angels.
And this is Jason Louvre,
yeah,
who is powerful. Jason Louvre. I've listened to so much of him via Duncan Trussell and those guys, and when I knew this book was coming, I thought, my God, there's some fucking history and some madness in that book.
Yeah,
but getting that far in, it was so dense.
It was. I mean, I know we spoke about it, and I was like, I wonder if he's actually reading it. I wonder if, because I was like, I've gone halfway and I need to read it again. Like, I really didn't get, because I think the last bit of the book is like about Parsons and rocketry and like Scientology and the stems and roots of that, of how like
how John it all comes about.
Yeah, it stems back to the 1600s of just a guy in London just invoking the spirits with his mate Edward Kelly. Yeah, but it was it's a really interesting book. And that's how we. Well, actually, no. I think you posted on a story about Leadenham.
Leadenham, yeah, because he spent time in Leadenham, which is a little village not miles from here.
No, not far at all. And it was really weird because the day I read, it was about a month before I read that page, and the day before I was working in Leadenham, at an old pub, like repiping it and putting some heating in. They would turn it into like an Airbnb. I'd never been to Leadenham, and I was like, oh, it's a nice village. And literally the next day I read that page, and I saw Lincolnshire. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
It was so strange. Yeah. So I've been there. I've been in the church a few times, because there's a plaque on the wall. You can see like his name there.
Really?
Like,
yeah. Because you said to me I should get down there and have a look at that. Because I was there not long after, I think, similar, to see a client, and I remember you saying you were actually there.
Yeah.
And been back to see it.
Yeah. When did I last go? I can't remember when I last went. But the door was closed. The church door was closed. So I was like, gutted. But you can go in there. And it's just weird to stand in there and be like, the guy opened the place up and looked after this for like 10 years. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to work out where he lived. I was like, where would he live? Would it be like the vicarage or...
There's a couple of old buildings still there, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah. But like, super interesting. I mean, it's way over my head as well.
Well, we should probably give people a little bit of an outline on John Dee. So John Dee was kind of, like you say, 1600s. Mm-hmm. He was an advisor to Queen Elizabeth I, was it?
Yeah. Advisor, astrologer. I mean, a lot of the monarchy is well organised. A lot of their dates around astrological events. So it was always quite normal to have a right-hand man such as John Dee. But he resided in Mortlake in London and here, and kind of switched between both of them, I think. But yeah, he was also, I think he had the biggest library in the world after...
Yeah, I read that, yeah.
Yeah, after
remember that.
The Library of Alexandria. Yeah, he was like, he had all the sacred books, and I think he might have had, I heard McKenna talking about it once, the Voyage Manuscript. Right. Which is a book that no one has been able to decipher. It's in a language that no one knows, and there's not ever been anything found that resembles anything like it. And I think he had it for a bit and was trying, I think quite a few famous people have been trying to decipher it and what it holds, but I think he was in possession of it for a while. So just a really interesting guy.
Super interesting. And there's some kind of vague rumours of James Bond being sort of finding its roots from John Dee.
Yeah, I mean, he was the
007.
He was the 007. He was the original. He would sign his a lot of letters as well to Queen Elizabeth with 007. Yeah. I'm sure there's some. I can't remember the reason for that. I'm sure there's some numerological.
I think when he left the monarch and went off travelling through Europe, he was accused of espionage quite often for the British Empire, and I think he's said to have coined that term as well, the British Empire.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and also he was responsible for circumnavigating the globe, like the maths of how to decipher where actually geographically you are located in the earth, like on the earth, and how to get from point A to point B. And his, I think, like sums and mathematics worked out how people got around really well.
It's amazing.
Which is nuts, yeah. But then also he spent a lot of time, working with the divine and trying to tune in and decipher the Enochian alphabet, which was which is...
There you go. I think I'm actually wearing this T-shirt on the press shot for this podcast. Yeah.
But I mean, it's something I've never...
you look at it and it just like...
Yeah. I mean, this guy spent his whole life doing this with Edward Kelly, like channeling the spirits, working with the archangels, which is really similar to, Crowley and Freemasons.
Well, so much inspiration came directly from John Dee, didn't it?
Yeah, and also he was like the first Merlin archetype.
Yeah.
Like Gandalf, Merlin, like he was the guy that was kind of the
wizard.
The wizard, the English kind of shaman that was a wizard, and into his... Well, kind of, he was the stem of the a lot of occult
I need to
stuff.
finish this fucking book. It's making me want to get back into the book.
I do. But I think I stopped. I can't remember where I stopped, but I think what's amazing is they spent years deciphering this. And then one day they'd get like a channeling from Edward Kelly, because Edward Kelly was the guy that was doing the readings and the scrying and kind of tuning in, and kind of John Dee was navigating him through the process. But, they'd go a year with writing something, and then one day you'll get a message saying, "Oh, you've been tricked. You've been tricked by a demon." And I think about many times they started it over again, because an archangel would come to them saying, "Oh, you've been deceived for the past year. Don't trust it." And there was so many times in the book I was like, God,
yeah, that's got to be heartbreaking.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know how he ended. I can't remember how his life ended up, actually. It was quite sad.
I think it was sad. I think he died in squalor, in poverty, yeah. Aidan might be able to whip something up, but...
was he trying to, decipher, the alchemical dream, trying to turn lead into gold? And that's what
the alchemy.
That's what the monarch wanted. Yeah. Whereas really, alchemy is like a transmutation of your inner self.
Yeah, spirit and energy.
Yeah, but of course, the monarch, gold.
Yeah. Turn it into gold. Yeah, there he is. There's powerful John Dee. Upon his return to England, he found his home library vandalised. He eventually returned to the service of the Queen, but was turned away when she was succeeded by James I. He died in poverty, and his grave site is unknown.
Apparently, he's buried next to, in Mortlake, next to his house, at an altar of a church. He's buried actually at Mortlake Church.
Right.
Actually, at the altar, apparently. You have to maybe check that, but
okay.
Just crazy rumours as well.
When you do dig in, and there's a lot to dig into, and as I was finding when I was reading this book, so much of it that was from my little brain was trying to retain names of all these people along the way, these other spiritualists and occultists and monarchs and aristocrats and all of this. God, it was like, what? And it always comes back to me with any history I read. It's like, how the fuck do we know this? How has this been recounted on some deer skin at one point, and then it's been sort of scribbled onto some tablet, and then we've managed to get onto paper, and all the while, like used to tape over tapes, we did, didn't we?
Yeah.
And by the time you got to the fucking bit you wanted, it was just like a dirge.
The screen would start fucking swirling. You go, no.
So it always mesmerises me, that. But there's so much that leads back to John Dee, and a lot of, I think, probably putting my neck out a bit, but a bit of suppression as well on some of his history and some of his finding and some of his knowledge and his work. Yeah,
definitely. In what respect do you think?
I don't know. I think because it's a bit woo.
Yeah, very woo.
And a bit esoteric, and it's not a matter of fact.
Definitely,
is it?
Definitely no. And he's
and obviously the whole connection with in time since with Aleister Crowley, whose reputation was a little bit darker, and and it all comes from John Dee, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's divination,
occult,
and occult, and you pay homage to the corners of your east, south, and west, and north, and you make your life a ritual, the whole ritual. And the more, it's hard as well as. I remember McKenna talking about it actually in one lecture. But he was saying when he was out travelling, catching butterflies in his early days, he would be able to command nature to kind of respond to him. When he was out in the jungle or whatever, he'd say, give me a sign, and then this butterfly would come and land on him, and beautiful things would happen. And the second he brought someone into the equation, like, look what I can do.
The energy changed.
It changes. Yeah. And there's something about magic. And the second you start revealing it, the second I guess it's maybe like attaching maybe to some ego. Do you know what I mean? Some look what I can do.
Yes.
Nature's kind of like, no, like it should be for you and it should be selfless.